kind of pictures?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
Not even close?
No. I had a DSLR, a digital single
Sound,
lens
laser
reflexive.
recognition thing?
No, single lens reflective, which
Okay.
is the big cameras that you see.
Yeah.
I had that within 6 months of my son being born, and
Yeah.
then I just started reading books and researching it online.
Now, you got into your son's 6, so you were into... So how long have you been into motorcycles?
Uh, since I was 17.
Really?
Yeah.
So have you ever like built your own motorcycle? Or
No,
anything like that?
no. I'm not a mechanic.
Oh, okay. And so how many like bike things happen around in the Pioneer Valley? Because I don't know if like any audience members and stuff want to participate in anything like that.
I write a book called the Motorcycle Events Calendar,
Mm-hmm.
the book that we hand out to everybody, and that's filled with 600 events, and all of those are within riding distance of,
Really?
of Springfield.
So you know Hell's Angels? Do you know like what are the motorcycle gangs? The stereotypical.
Okay, first of all, they're not gangs. They're
groups.
They're motorcycle clubs.
Right.
You'll even look at their patch, and these guys are all decent. You have a criminal element in any group that you have out there. 13% of the population is involved in some sort of criminal activity. I don't think the percentage is higher than that in any motorcycle club. As exactly opposite, motorcycle clubs like the Hells Angels, the Barrio Riders, the Long Riders, these guys are involved in a lot of charity events between toy runs and raising money. We did a ride for Angel Arce Torres, which was a guy that had been hit. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Hartford area, but this was the hit and run victim on Park Street where the guys didn't even stop. It made national news.
Really?
And they were in trouble with the hospital bills, and the Barrio Riders actually put together a run for them and raised quite a bit of money to offset some of the expenses they were running against.
Right.
So that they really have a personal touch.
Yeah.
They have you see hundreds of clubs represented at any charity event that you go to for motorcyclists.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are the upcoming? Are there any upcoming charities and stuff that any of the like the Haymond Lawfirm or anybody sponsoring?
Yeah, we're involved in April 30th. We're involved in a Special Forces ride. It's happening across the country. They're trying to make it the largest poker ride for Special Forces, which benefits the families of those lost in action.
Now, what do you mean by poker? What's a poker
Okay,
ride?
poker run is very simple. You start in one spot, and there's usually 5 stops, and you ride to each stop. And at each stop, you get a card.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, you play it like a poker hand. And the person with the best hand wins a certain prize, the worst hand. And everybody chips in $20 to go on the ride, and there's usually food supplied by a sponsor or a restaurant at the end. And they raise a few $100s for whatever charity they're doing.
Now, a lot of people wouldn't suspect like lawyers as being huge motorcyclists and stuff like that. People always stereotype the guy with the bandana and the big guy with like the mustache and stuff like that.
That's why we're in business.
Yeah,
because those stereotypes exist, and they exist even into the courtroom.
Really?
Yeah, but motorcycling has become so mainstream in the past 15 years that the perceptions almost seem antiquated.
Right, because there's probably a lot of bias in the courtroom when you see like that motorcyclist and stuff.
Yeah.
But when you have a lawyer, that's also part of it.
But the lawyer that rides isn't going into court in his leather jacket. He's still going to wear the suit. Get the respect of the court.
Does he have a leather jacket?
Of course he does.
He's got the spurt. Like what is the? Well, what are they?
Boots.
What's the?
Well, no, boots, good leather, maybe chaps if you're riding a long way, and you want eye protection.
Right.
But I always advise, people. I'm for choice. Whether you want to wear a helmet or not, should be your own personal choice. But if you're going to wear a helmet, wear a good one that's going to protect you. If you fall, don't buy the $20 one that just complies with.
What are actually the laws in Massachusetts for riding a motorcycle? Because I'm not even familiar with.
I mean,
the laws.
you have to wear a helmet. You have to have eye protection. I really have to look. That's not something that I'm personally familiar with. I do more with marketing than with the legal aspect of it. But if you get our guide, we have a chart in the back that tells you the laws and how they apply to motorcyclists in probably all the area states from Pennsylvania to Maine.
Okay, all right. And actually, our next guest, you know him. You're really good friends with Brian Tassone.
Yes, I am.
So ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is actually an investigator, private eye, and he's also the deputy sheriff for the Franklin County. Please welcome Brian Tassone.
We know each other.
Oh yeah, we know each other. How's it going,
I
Brian?
actually applied for a job as a Haymond girl, but I didn't get it.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Well, you better talk to.
I didn't get the second interview.
You better. Is that how is it? Is it interviewee kind of thing? Like you have to.
Oh yeah, you have
For
to
the
go-
Haymond girls.
Yes, you have to go through a process.
I didn't have the legs for it, so.
Right. I think I do. My legs are
Yeah,
pretty
you
long.
might do pretty well.
Do they have drag Haymond
Oh,
girls?
thank God I passed this off to my assistant. She'll stonewall you through the phone call.
Yeah. So Brian, you're a private investigator. Obviously, the hat gives it away. Now, when you're doing investigations, do you actually wear the hat? Because if you wear the hat, people know you're investigating, so it's not private.
Well, it depends what I do. It depends if I'm doing a criminal investigation or a civil investigation. If I'm doing a criminal investigation, I want people to know why, because I deal with a lot of gangs. A lot of my clients are gang members and people that have been arrested for usually felonies. And I'm in a lot of tough areas at night, weekends, holidays, so I want people to know what I'm doing there, because they either think I'm a cop or a bill collector, and they don't want either one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, do you wear like the orange? You know how like the crossing guard has the bright orange, so they know who you are.
Safety vest?
Yeah, you wear the safety vest and stuff like that. You got
This
like
is pretty
reflectors
much-
on your knees.
I learned a long time ago not to wear a suit. You have to understand, the people that I deal with, usually a lot of times they're not financially well off, and the last thing you want to do is go in there dressed in a suit or anything. You want to let them relate. I do a lot of motorcycle clients, so I actually have a heavy cruiser and I wear the bandana, and you can see I got the mustache.
Right.
So when I go out and do anything with motorcycles, I take my bike. I would have brought it tonight, but it's
raining
a
out.
little
Yeah.
chilly.
You might get in an accident, and then you have
Yeah,
to.
well, I can
the
always
Lawfirm
call
to
Dexter
represent.
and John, so.
Right,
you know.
yeah.
Can't protect you from your own stupidity, though.
Yeah, that's what my dad used to tell me. So, now you do private investigations. What you do is when somebody commits a crime and they're allegedly, guilty or whatever like that, you make sure you check the information, check the scene and stuff like that to see if there's any like.
Yeah, I get paid. I work for the state of Massachusetts, a program called Committee for Public Counsel Service. If you're arrested and the crime is serious, and you can get what they call a indigent lawyer. In other words, you're not working, you don't have the money for a lawyer in Massachusetts. Like other states, the taxpayers foot the bill. So lawyers don't investigate, so they have to get an investigator, and you have to have certain qualifications to work for as a subcontractor for the state. And actually, most of my cases are Superior Court cases, so a lot of the ones that you see that happen in the area, the shootings and all that, a lot of those are my clients.
Okay. All right. Let's throw out a theoretical situation. I have a girlfriend, theoretically, and she's cheating on me, and I want to know. I suspect that she's cheating on me, and I'm not really sure. You would check out the investigation to see if she's actually cheating on me. You do that like spousal.
I stay away. I've been in business for 25 years. I don't really like to make financial gain off other people's problems.
He'd call Joey Greco.
Yeah, I don't really. I've done it.
I'm gonna keep the name in mind.
From Cheaters?
I
don't know if you ever saw that.
Oh, yeah.
I should get my own reality television show, I guess. That's where all the money is. I don't like doing that. I will on occasion. I have a lot of friends that are in law enforcement or that are lawyers or even bikers and stuff. And, they'll call me up and ask me to do something. But for the most part, you never know who your client is, and there are usually children involved, so you never know if the ones that's paying you are the parent that should be in charge of custody of the children. So I don't like it. To me, it's not what I want to do. I'd rather do with John, product liability, animal attacks, motorcycle accidents, motor vehicle accidents, industrial accidents.
So
if I'm going to do civil.
Right, so you're kind of like a real life Inspector Gadget. You just go out there.
Well, it's more like an acting role.
Yeah.
I mean.
Do you dress up?
Oh God, yeah. I've been everybody.
Have you been a stripper?
No, I wanted to be a Haymond girl, but I couldn't get that either. But no, I've dressed. It's hard. You got to understand one thing. If you're doing surveillance for a long period of time, you have to blend in with the neighborhood.
Kind of like Big Mama's house. Like you get in an outfit and you get wired and stuff
he's
like
a little
that.
smaller than I am, but you can't park in somebody's street in a rural area of East Longmeadow or Longmeadow and sit there for hours and hours and while somebody looking out the window and going, you don't belong here.
Right, police.
Yeah, so what you do is usually I check in with the local police agency, show them my license and my bond, give them a general idea where I'm gonna be. I have several cars, I have 4 or 5 cars and a motorcycle, and I try to get a vehicle that's gonna blend in with the area. I'll buy myself a yellow hard hat, maybe I'll get some cable and step out of the car with a clipboard with a camera built inside or a body cam on.
Have you ever dressed up as like an Indian or a police officer?
It sounds like one of the
Village people.
Yeah. Now when you
dress up like a police officer
Where are
every
you
day.
leading us here?
when you dress up, you don't wear the hat, right? Because it kind of gives it away.
No, you want to try to blend in. Like a lot of times, I'll get orange cones and put one in front of my car, and I'll put one in back of my car, and I'll throw some fancy electrical equipment on the hood. People just think you're there with the electric company or the utility company or Wi-Fi or whatever. And sometimes they'll bring you coffee. I get a lot of coffee. They'll come out and think you're something to do with satellite television, and it helps you blend in. Because don't forget, you're there for a reason. You're an employer. You have an employee who allegedly gets hurt, and they're out of work for months and months and months. You're paying them, and a lot of them can be working elsewhere. Or I've had clients where the doctors have told them that wherever they go, or the lawyer has told them wherever they go, wear this, carry your cane, and all that. And if you're going to play by the rules, you do what the doctor tells you and what the lawyer tells you. But a lot of people don't. They want to double dip. They want to get paid the workman's comp, plus they want to go work under the table as a bartender, or.
So that's what you do. You make sure that people are actually injured and they're not paying.
And that's insurance fraud, which also can become, criminal. So.
Right. So you're like a jack of all trades. So you're dressing up and you're always trying to be something else. How do I know you're really an investigator? Because you could be dressing up
as an
investigator.
If I don't, you can be an investigator posing as
because
an investigator.
you could just be like a teacher and you just put on this facade.
You
you're
have
an
to,
investigator.
Mass General Law 147, Section 22. You have to be a licensed, bonded, insured investigator in the state of Massachusetts. And they give you an ID, has your photo on it.
You said you came on the interview and you're really not.
I know.
I mean, you could be anything, You're like a pilot.
Well, that's when I go into the police stations. Of course, a lot of them know me now, anyways.
He could use this interview as like his resume.
Yeah, he's actually like a CIA
I'll never
agent.
be able to go undercover now.
I'm a plumber.
Get a job as an investigator.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, it's serious business because you have a lot of people that are out of work legitimately, or even if they're not, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're, and a lawyer gets a third of that. So if you go out in the field and you have a person that's on getting ready to get a settlement of $500,000, the insurance company a lot of times will hire a guy like me to go out and basically what I do is legal stalking. But you have no reasonable expectation of privacy if you're out in the public. So, I've had guys go through the back door, jump the fence into their neighbor's yard, grab their neighbor's car, and go play golf.
Cops.
Yeah, I don't even play golf, but I'll go get a golf cart and rent some clubs and a video. And
I actually live near a golf course.
Yeah,
so
I don't play golf, but I'll ride around and videotape them for 2 hours. And, then it goes to court, then it becomes a criminal matter.
Wow. Pretty... So you're a private investigator, but now you're on TV, so now the people know what to look for. They're looking for Brian, the guy who portrays like.
Yeah, but I'm not dressed up in anything.
By the time
I don't know that.
I don't know that. By the time they see him, it's too late.
Yeah. Most of my work now is criminal anyway, so I know I meet with my clients. They're either locked up in a jail or in a state prison system, and I go meet with them. I get a copy of all the reports from the prosecutor's office and all that. Then what I do is I go out and try to prove them innocent.
So when you go into an area, you let the police station, the city police.
Oh, absolutely.
You let them know beforehand, like, listen, I'm going to be dressed up as a
well, when I do
trained
criminal,
conductor.
I'm not. If I'm doing civil, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
But if I'm doing criminal, I don't have to because I have all the names in the police report that are witnesses against my client are the people I'm going to go talk to. So believe me, after I hit the first one, they're calling the police department anyway. So it's a good idea to check in with them.
Okay. Now, what's some crazy stories that have happened to you? Because as being an investigator and stuff like that,
I've fallen out of trees. I was in
looking for cats.
Oh no, I was at a tree one time filming this guy working and cutting grass, and I fell out of the tree in the middle of winter in February. And I remember falling in the brook and.
A peeping Tom.
Oh, yeah,
He's cutting his grass in February.
Yeah,
that should have given it away right there.
I rode my I rode my bike last March 1st.
Oh, really?
Matter of fact, yeah, we were talking about helmets. See, that is
a
non-DOT helmet, by the way. That's a German helmet. There's no liner in it
You
whatsoever.
kind of look like a Nazi.
Yeah, it's just a shell, but it's not a DOT